Welcome to Once Upon a Time recaps. Trying to look like Regina. It's not there. So we're going to start off with the Wicked Witch of the West episode known as Witch Hunt. Now, where we last left off, everyone was in the Enchanted Forest, but also in Storybrooke a year later, and no one remembers what happened in the forest, but we're seeing what's happening in the forest, and it's all weird and messed up. So we're going to hit upon the main points of the episode. Regina and Robin, because obviously they were a huge focal point of this episode, and super ship that.
You can't just change ships midway through stuff. Like, you can't have a ship, season 1 and season 2, and then, I think I like her.
Yes, I can. I can ship whoever I want, especially when my old ship has now become all boring and pregnant.
It's not my fault. You picked the bad ship.
It's not a bad ship. It's just under a sleeping curse right now. It's Outlaw Queen. Really good, and they went so much further than I thought, and it was awesome. So we have to touch on the Wicked Witch and her origin story because, bam, she's Regina's sister. And if you couldn't have guessed that by all the times that they name-dropped blood magic.
I sealed it with blood magic.
To seal it by blood?
I sealed the room with a blood lock.
No one can break through blood magic.
Did you break the blood lock?
Then you need to be a part of the Charming family. Rumple's back. Hello, wasn't expecting that at the end of the episode. And then he was eating oatmeal with his hands. And that's oatmeal. Do we have any oatmeal? And then, of course, the last point being Snow's baby, and where that whole storyline is going to go, and why the hell the Wicked Witch is offering to deliver this child. Okay, so let's start with the first point, which is Robin and Regina, Outlaw Queen, what? Going on an adventure together. Regina turns the flying monkey into a stuffed animal. This is a great idea to get rid of these monkeys, and they will never do this. She will never use this spell ever again. They could be tearing Charming limb to limb. So we got a lot of exposition really fast. Bang, 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 bang. We kind of found out a little bit about Robin's origin story, that he's the reason that Maid Marian died, which I seem to remember something Maid Marian died after childbirth. That could have been the fanfiction I read. So as a debt to Regina, he offers to come along and help her put down the protection spell, and she lifts this really big rock. It looks like something out of Harry Potter. And so they're in the tunnels, and we find out Regina's now owning up to her mistakes. She has always been one to kind of blame others for her own misfortune. Such a big plot point for her. But now with Robin, she's kind of opening up super quick, and maybe it's because of her depressed state, but if that's where this is leading, this means she's more open to the idea of someone coming into her life. Here's your soulmate! And that there's like this weird sort of attraction to like each other's misery and past pain, which is great because they both have a lot of that apparently.
Well, then you should have stayed with the others.
And I should. So they get into the castle, and there's this great parallel with the couples, which is where they always start off an adventure, and they always start out with some sort of conflict and like tons of sass. So much sass. So they get up there, and in the saddest delivery ever, we find out that Regina wants to put herself under a sleeping curse. Also in my mind, if she goes under a sleeping curse and he's still glued to the floor, does he stay glued to the floor? So she gets the sleeping curse, but she ends up not doing it because she's interrupted by dun dun dun! The Wicked Witch.
Same way you do. I'm your sister.
If Elphaba was born green, the Wicked Witch of Oz was... Well, I don't know how she turned green. So why is the Wicked Witch green? She seemed a little touchy about the fact that she mentioned her skin color. Either a born-in thing, jealousy, food-borne illness, she has some sort of vendetta against Regina. Now, personally, I think the vendetta is strictly based on her jealousy of the awesome life that Regina had growing up. But there's also a theory going around that she's not actually the sister whatsoever. She's making it up just to toy with her, and that there's this huge, big other plan that involves Snow's baby. The other big point I want to talk about. They keep popping out the spawn of true love, so everyone wants their children, including the Wicked Witch. There are some theories. She could be trying to frame Regina. It's kind of far-fetched, but go with me for a second. She could be trying to plant the child on her before Regina knows that it's missing, so that way everybody turns against Regina, therefore taking more away from her than she had prior, so she loses everyone. Or she could be trying to steal the baby for Rumpelstiltskin, who we all know from the past has a real big interest in their kids. And that brings us to Rumpelstiltskin. He is back, and he is batshit crazy. He ate oatmeal with his hands. really crazy. This brings up a whole other host of questions. Did he actually die?
You never should have brought me back.
So did she bring him back from the dead? Did she find him? When she's having the conversation with Regina, does she already know that Rumpelstiltskin is alive? She has a very, very distinct reaction.
They're both dead.
Okay, so coming back to my last point. Who could possibly be the father of the Wicked Witch of the West? So there's a casting spoiler going around that a young Leopold was cast to play opposite Rose McGowan, who plays young Cora, which makes us think that perhaps Leopold could be the Wicked Witch's father.
If he's the Wicked Witch's father, then Regina's left with her sister's father. I mean, I guess Emma did sleep with a monkey, so...
Which leads us into the family tree of this show. So a long time ago in a land far fucking away and stuff. Sorry. So Cora has this fling with Rumpelstiltskin. Some people think Rumpelstiltskin might be the Wicked Witch's father, although I find that highly unlikely considering he chose Regina to cast the curse and not his own daughter with Cora, which is what he really wanted in that disgusting ass ghost scene we all had to sit through.
What was up with Cora?
Well, what is the vendetta against Regina if Cora's not her mother? She just really fucking hates Regina. We have Cora and we have Rumpelstiltskin, who had a little fling when she was betrothed to Henry. His name is Henry, who's 17th in line for the crown. She had a child with Henry, who is Regina. But we'll get back to this later. Ava, they have Leopold, and they have Snow White. And then Cora kills Ava, leaving a spot open for Regina to slither on up into that family. Regina is the stepmother of Snow White. All this shit happens, and she kills Leopold, kind of. She's like an accessory to murder. He dies. Done. She takes over the castle, and Snow White's a fugitive, and so she hooks up with Prince Charming. Snow and Charming have a true love baby who is Emma, who they put in the wardrobe, send out into the world to give her her best chance. While she's out in the world, she meets up with Balefire, who is the son of Rumpelstiltskin. So Balefire and Emma have Henry. Emma gives up Henry, and Regina adopts him through Rumpelstiltskin, who is Henry's biological grandfather. Regina's his step-great-grandmother, but now his mother. And then Peter Pan is Rumpelstiltskin's father. So anyways, that was the recap for this week. Drop us a line down below if you want to talk about some spoilers or have a theory or want something discussed. And we will see you next week with Rapunzel.